All right, we're live.
We are live. Welcome, everyone. And I'm Cynthia Lamb.
I'm Sherry Zampelli. We're the Savvy Soul Sisters. Yes. On a mission to conquer Paliza. No more Paliza. That's our mission. And I say it's a worthwhile mission. I applaud it.
Okay.
Not everyone knows who Paliza is, but then again, they do.
Sherry, before we go into Paliza, go ahead and introduce us to your version of Paliza.
My version of Paliza, the people-pleasing perfectionist with severe issues of unworthiness. Oh my gosh. She is the mask where you try to pretend like everything is perfect and everything is good and everything is wonderful, and you are too, but underneath the surface there's that evil self-talk of criticism. It does not discriminate. It comes at unexpected times. Just when you thought you were doing so perfect and being so great, there it is again. We were talking about it before we went live, and we said, let's practice. We're doing a show right now. Let's go live and put it on camera. So Cynthia, kind of set that up for us if you can, and where were we in the conversation, and how can we use a real example to demonstrate what Paliza is all about?
Okay. We were speaking about manners and how we have been indoctrinated to have these manners, to say please and thank you and you're welcome, and to always arrive on the dot of 2 o'clock if the invitation says to start at 2. And how these indoctrinated manners have kind of impeded us, have stopped us from having genuine interactions with people, have maybe caused a lot of judgment about when someone doesn't do or say something. And I was right in the middle of telling a story about one time when someone held so much judgment towards me, literally years of judgment, about the one time that I did not say thank you.
How dare you? You didn't say thank you? What is wrong with you?
And what was so great about this one time that I didn't say thank you was that then the judgment that came my way was that I was so rude. And this gave another person this ammunition to literally incredibly mean to me and even rude to me for years on end, because I had done this constantly with this person.
You will pay! You will pay for the rest of your life. You will never, ever be good enough again, Cynthia Lamb. You're flawed.
I may as well just
get off the stage. We don't want you here anymore.
Crawl under a rock.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I remember having that conversation, and I remember we're talking about a class. So I'm teaching a class. I teach classes all the time, and you have these scenarios where people get so upset at you because they say, you're so rude, you're so rude. And while they're telling you about how rude you are, they're doing something that is really something else. But also, I was talking to you about the upbringing, I guess. Where did Paliza come from? Living in an environment where someone's constantly drilling these rules in you of how it should be, the right way to do things, you know, the right way to be polite. And if you don't follow all of these rules, then there's something wrong with you. And the thing is that in my case anyway, the rules were impossible to follow. So you're constantly doomed, and it gets frustrating. It gets really frustrating because in your mind, you've built up this thing. Like, let's say in my life, politeness, proper English, having a certain body shape or size were all highly valued, as if in some way these were the most important things in the world. Like anytime you had an interaction with grandma, it was pretty much somewhere in that interaction some kind of training that had to do with the size and shape of your body, what you're saying and how you're saying it, and manners. At the same time, the same people who are giving you those rules behind closed doors, or maybe even right after they gave you the rules, will do something like call you a name, slap you across the face, punish you, say negative, derogatory, mean things about other people in a very rude way. So it's very mixed messages. And it literally almost drove me crazy. That's why I had to come up with Poliza, because then at least I could laugh about it.
Well, Sherry,
that's the only hope I feel like I have, is to laugh about it at this point.
You're right. I think you're right. And laughter is so incredibly healing. One of the things that my teacher always said to me was that awareness is 95% of the work. So the more awareness you can put on this old pattern of having this baggage that you've been downloaded your entire life about manners, even about hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. That's a great word and a great topic.
Go for it.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that word hypocrisy has been coming up for me, and it's a two-sided aspect, because I used to really judge my mom as being a hypocrite. I really did. I had a lot of judgment, hypocrisy. And I know that one of the things I learned from you is that the thing that we judge in other people is often the thing that we're really judging ourselves for, or it's a mirror. So just recently, that idea of saying one thing or being one way in public, and then realizing that it is an act sometimes. Sometimes I think that we don't even want to admit to ourselves that we're doing certain things, so our mind can just really block information from us sometimes. But I definitely this week became aware of the fact that nice behavior that was shown on the outside really was masking some underlying discomfort, judgment that I had toward other people. And here I am, I'm a human services instructor, so I'm teaching about compassion and I'm teaching about acceptance towards others. But this semester, I definitely went through some periods of time where I was not accepting and I did not feel compassionate. And the thing is, what I like about our conversations with each other is that we can say those things without judging them, because I think the judgment of the realization adds another layer and just keeps you stuck in it more.
Absolutely.
I don't have to hide it. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. You don't have to hide, because what we're doing here is we're moving into authenticity. And the biggest part about moving into authenticity is to be able to become aware of our issues without judging them. Because when we judge, our judgment we're just compounding it with more judgment.
Right.
So,
and I think it stays under the surface longer. And then in my experience, there's been times in the past where it stays under the surface a little bit too long, and then it rears its ugly head like with a vengeance, you know? Like when you try and just push it down, 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 sometimes that is just the beginning of a major explosion.
Well, it's like shaking this soda bottle and then having the top come off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know that this isn't a healthy thing to do. And part of what's so fabulous about you actually making the mask of Polizza is to admit it.
Yeah.
Awareness is the work. Healing Polizza is actually a very small percentage of the work. But owning it, admitting it, and recognizing it, and labeling the behaviors. To me, labeling what we do, labeling our masks and all of the behaviors that our masks act out, is really self-realization. Realizing what we've been doing and how we've been doing it. And from there, accept it and embrace it, hopefully laugh about it a lot, then it can start to change.
Yes. I know. Thank God for laughter. I'm serious, because I know that around the time that I met you, or before I met you, there were so many self-imposed judgments that I had piled upon myself because I could never live up to Polizza's standards. So I just had a long list of infractions and judgments against me. You know, if I were in a court of law or something and they were looking at my sheet, my rap sheet, it would be multiple pages long for these infractions, you know, that I had done. And when you add to that trying to hide, oh my gosh, it's so much to try to keep in that it will drive you crazy. And it will eventually come out, and it won't be pretty. I also found that laughing about it and talking about it the way that we are to other people, it gives them such a freedom. And such a freedom. They say, oh my gosh, I have a Polizza too, and I didn't even know it. The thing is that I kind of lost my train of thought, but
well, I think people need permission to be human, because what we were told, you have to act a certain way. You're supposed to, your body's supposed to look a certain way. Your words are supposed to come out a certain way. There's a right or wrong thing to say in every situation. And if you say it wrong, you're bad. You're awful. You're terrible.
Oh, yeah.
You deserve to be punished.
And then the judgments go out to other people. That was kind of what we were talking about. So I went to this event where there were a lot of people, and most of them were not adhering to the rules that I learned of how you're supposed to behave yourself at this type of event. And so those judgments that you have about yourself that aren't healed, automatically you go somewhere where someone's doing something that you think they shouldn't be doing it that way, and then all those judgments come alive. And let's say there's 10 people or 20 people or 50 people at this event, and you're having 50 judgments running simultaneously. It's enough to drive you crazy, really. I mean, it's just, seriously, how could you have a good time at an event when all you're doing is sitting there calculating all of the wrong? What was liberating is if you could free.
Like that?
What's that?
How many people do we know who actually live like that? And you can look at the person's face and they've got this growl on their face,
Totally.
and they're so disgruntled and discontent and unhappy, and they're tallying, she did this and he believes she said that, and gossiping to their friend about it. Did you hear so and so say that? People spend their whole lives doing this stuff.
Yeah, it's true. I just had to try out that sound effect, but yeah.
Was that the realization?
I think I got it.
That's the
Eureka!
realization. Liberation.
Woo! Imagine how much time and energy and happiness you could or would have if you were free from that. Or if you even just could go to the same event, but with a mindset that's somewhat clear, like a child, meaning a child who has not learned yet that you're supposed to judge this, or you're supposed to do that, or that this is the right way, where you could just walk into a room full of people and enjoy and be curious and learn and have a sense of wonder about, wow, look at this culture, or look at this way that this particular room full of people is doing things. They're just going with the flow. The people you would meet, the things you would do, the joy you would experience, and the stress that you would completely bypass and not have to even get involved in. How stressful it is to be judgmental. I find it very stressful.
Yeah, that's accurate. It is incredibly stressful, and it affects every part of our day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a weight on our shoulders that we're carrying, and the mind is running all of these judgments all of the time, and there isn't any space for joy.
Yes. Yes. And I know I want joy. I know a lot of people do. And some people think that they're gonna get the joy by following all of Police's rules. If I just get another degree, if I'm just nice, if I just lose 5 more pounds, if I just get a new dress, if I just change the way I do my makeup, if I just didn't have varicose veins. I mean, the list goes on, and it never, ever ends.
And to me, this is a way of looking. Yeah, it's sad.
It is sad. It's sad and it's pathetic.
It is pretty pathetic. But here's the thing. We were born with this idea that happiness is outside of us. That is out there in the white picket fence, in the degree, in the 6-figure income, it's in the 2.5 children, or this kind of car, or this neighborhood, or whatever it might be. As a child, the truth is in them. So it became this idea that happiness is out there, based on something outside of ourselves. We're going to have to act or be a certain way in order to get that out. One of the first principles of self-realization is to realize that we are fully responsible for our own happiness. In other words, joy is inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to feel joy, I have to feel that inside. I have to take responsibility for my own joy.
Yes, and I know that, when I'm around different ages of people, and I think that sometimes when you're younger, let's say involved in a lot of different activities in the culture and whatever, you might really think that once you get your degree, you are going to be happy. that once you get that job, you are going to be happy. But some of us have lived a little bit longer, and we've realized that we got the thing we wanted, that we said it was going to make us happy, and it didn't. Then we got the next thing that we said was going to make us happy, and it didn't. Then we got the next thing that we said was going to make us happy, and it didn't. And that's when you really start to have a wake-up call and say, you know, there's something more to this. This is not just about these outside attainments. Obviously. I know there were definitely a few things for me on my list, like getting a degree, writing a book, different things that I thought would be really change my life or make me happy or make me feel complete or whatever the case was. And that was not true at all. In fact, there were times where it was exactly the opposite. It was almost a letdown, you know, because I had so much expectation about how this particular thing was going to be so great. And it was really just another a day, or, you know, maybe you might celebrate for a little while, but then you just go back to life.
Yeah. And I think
you're still stuck with what's in your head.
Exactly. We take ourselves wherever we go. So whatever mindset we're in before the book is published, we still have that mindset after it's published. Same thing with inquiry or the house or the bio. I think this is why most people become depressed. And I think the people that we are looking for right now, our audience, is going to be realize that there's.
Yeah, they realize it. They realize it in some way, shape, or form, and they want or need somebody who can guide them in a non-judgmental way. You know, I know sometimes the things we're talking about right now, it's not like I didn't hear some of them before, but it would always be conveyed in some sort of tone like, well, when you get older like me, you'll realize, you know, that these things aren't important. Or, oh, well, that's just because you're young. That's why you don't know. But I'm old, so I know. But no, and people who just maybe some sort of community or communing with people and saying, okay, so I do understand that outward things are not going to be the key to my happiness, but what do I do? Because the entire world around me is telling me different. And in fact, my friends think I'm a little bit nuts for not wanting and not valuing the same things that they're valuing. And then the worst thing is, does that mean I'm going to be all alone? Where are these other people who think like this? I don't see them. I don't hear them. I've never talked to them. Everywhere I go, people are talking about a car or some technology or an outfit or losing weight or getting a surgery or getting a degree. I mean, nobody's talking about happiness from within that I know of or that I hear. I'm verbalizing what I think is the truth for a lot of people. They're not.
And that's where the Savvy Soul Sisters come in.
Exactly. That's why we want to do this.
Talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're talking about it, and then anybody who's tuning into it and listening to it is either going to talk about it with us or at the very least know that there's a place where that conversation is taking place. They can participate in it. They can invite other people to participate in it. They can start their own mastermind group. I mean, that's really what the Savvy Soul Sisters started, as a mastermind group. And this is a format where we can kind of let people know about having a mastermind group wherever they live, or even with us to some degree.
Absolutely.
You're not alone. Yeah.
You are not alone.
Yeah, that's great. I love it.
It's a journey of awakening, and there's people who are here to support the journey.
Most definitely. Yeah, I mean, support and encourage too, because I mean, how great would it be if, I mean, I'm thinking for myself, if I had had people to have this conversation with on an ongoing basis in my teens, in my 20s, even to just listen to other people having the conversation, even if I didn't join in, because I was definitely influenced by the radio, for example. I definitely learned a lot by listening to other people on the radio and what they were talking about, different talk show hosts who really shed some light on things. And it's just great when you can have some kind of source like that, so that even when you're out and about at your job, at school, at church, wherever you are, where you might be surrounded by a lot of negativity, a lot of palooza, at least you know that there are other options, I guess.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. I think I'm a big believer in it. I mean,
I think you're right.
I'm so grateful for it.
Yes, me too. I think having the support of our mastermind group, first of all, has just been so instrumental in my own life, helping me feel like I'm not alone, helping me feel like I can do it. Like I can do it. I can do it. Some of these old beliefs that are stuck or trapped, that I can heal myself and move forward in my life, and they're going to be healthy for me. So I'm all about supporting, starting a mastermind and helping people understand.
Me too.
Themselves with and without a mastermind. So
what's that?
How people can help themselves with or without a mastermind.
Yeah.
Support the growth. That's what we do as Savvy Soul Sisters. So we invite you to keep watching us.
Yes, we'll be back.
We will be back.
But bye for now.
Bye-bye. We'll see you next time. Savvy Soul Sisters signing off.